Welcome back to Factory Sealed. It is February 14th.
Valentine's Day
2016. Happy Valentine's Day, Dan.
Oh, thank you, Eric. Isn't it a lovely day?
So happy I'm spending time with you.
Oh, me too. It's so nifty.
It's our date.
It's our date.
I told Christy that I didn't want to do anything, so I could record a two-man podcast with you.
Me too.
Oh.
I just said to the missus, I'm going to be doing a podcast, so we can't do anything for Valentine's Day.
How did she take it?
She hit me in the face.
Oh.
With a broom.
You mean a brush and a dustpan?
Possibly.
Because you don't own a broom.
I can't do this.
I just realized the absurdity of a two-man show on Valentine's Day.
Yeah. The irony.
Aww.
Yet we are both not single.
Yeah.
Clearly our other halves just don't like us.
Or they're just super understanding.
No, I think they don't like us.
I think Valentine's Day is really only important within like the first 2 years of dating somebody. After that, it's just...
Yeah. My missus just doesn't care. She doesn't like it. She thinks it's commercialized nonsense.
I'm going to only show my love to you on one day.
Well, it's true. It's an excuse, isn't it? Most people are just an arse. And then on Valentine's Day, like, here's some flowers.
Will you forgive me for the next 364 days?
Sure.
Okay.
Okay, that's fine. I've got flowers.
They'll be dead tomorrow.
So, as Eric just said, it's a two-man show today. Weirdly, both Tom or Jess aren't here because of Valentine's Day either.
No, they're here. They're not here for other reasons. We can share Tom's reason. We can't share Jess's reason.
Yes, we have to be cryptic and weird.
Tom doesn't have internet. I mean, there's really nothing cool about that. But Jess... So 2016 has been a very interesting year for the Factory
People across
Sealed.
the Atlantic.
Yeah. I have developed a penchant for motorized doodads and injuring myself severely
Yes.
with surgery.
Very much so. Very much so.
Jess was having issues that we still can't talk about, and then last week even more issues arise that made her previous issues look like nothing.
Yeah, let's just say, Eric, like when a truck burned down, that was nothing compared to the issues for this year. We thought that was pretty shitty, but that is not as shitty as this. That's all we'll say about it. But anyway, Jess, Tom, in here. The ain't here.
Ain't here.
The ain't here, usually.
Usually. Tom might just randomly jump on.
Yes.
He's had a message about his internet.
His internet has said for the past hour that they will have it fixed within 10 minutes.
They said, we'll sort it out. Just turn it off, turn it back on again.
I wonder if that is a generic page that appears when your internet is down.
Probably. Because how would they update the message to him regarding the time limit if the internet is down?
There's just some dude there writing a page every time.
For every
job.
No.
For every person in the UK who has Virgin Internet.
Isn't Virgin
I'm kind of happy about it, though, because it's usually my internet that's shit.
Oh, so... give it about 15 minutes and then you'll go full robot. And then it'll just be a 1.5 man show.
Well, I would have you believe that that's my internet, but that is in fact because I am a robot.
I'm trying to catch up to you.
I am a robot with a pre-programmed Geordie accent.
And when we go off on topic of conversations that have yet to be programmed sufficiently...
Yeah, it just goes completely batshit.
Tom didn't respond to my picture of the broom that I sent him. Just completely...
Probably because you weren't meant to send it to him.
But usually he'll reply with just a, huh? It's just a broom, just a flat out broom. So Dan and I were talking about.
I meant to send you a picture of a broom top.
I going to ask him if he got my picture on Skype. We were talking about household chores, and we discovered another cultural difference. Dan, first of all, doesn't do anything. Yeah. Second of all, doesn't own a broom.
But I do have a dustpan.
And a brush. So
it's good for getting into those nooks and crannies.
So is a broom. It's just got a long handle. You don't need to bend over.
I don't want to.
You don't have... It's less work. A broom is less work.
Oh, God. We do have a lengthier dustpan and brush, but it is shit, so we don't use it.
What do you mean a lengthier one? Like you can stand farther away from the dust?
Before from Mammoth Cleaning Supplies.
Yeah, that's a broom. So you have a broom.
Yes, but it doesn't get used.
God.
We just go around the kitchen with toothbrushes.
How big is your kitchen?
Reasonably.
Well, that's not a size.
I don't know. I haven't bloody measured my kitchen.
Eyeball it. Like 5 feet? Do you have a full stove?
A what?
A full stove.
What's a stove?
A range?
An oven.
Well, yeah, there's an oven and there's a stove. The stove is on top of the oven, and they come in one unit called an oven.
No, that's a hob. That's a hob, dearest.
A what?
A hob.
A hob.
A hob, yes.
I don't believe you. I'm calling bullshit on this.
Well, it is up here.
You call eggplant something like an aubergine.
Aubergine? It's an aubergine. Aubergine. Have you thought it's aubergine? Christy, fetch my aubergine.
Wait, so your
That has made my day. Thank you so much.
Your stoves aren't on top of your ovens?
What is a stove? A thing to put pans on?
Yeah, that heats up.
That's a hob.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
Okay, I'm going to show you...
Eat an aubergine, for God's sake.
I'm going to show you a picture, and you're going to tell me if you have these.
Okay.
This is a stove-oven combo. This is just the height of entertainment right now.
I know, yeah.
Kitchen appliance. I'm going to send this one to Tom, too.
Yeah, it's a hob.
But there's an oven in it.
Yeah.
So what part's the hob, and why is it a hob?
What are you talking about? Doesn't matter. Oh, God.
Do you have one of those in your kitchen?
Close enough.
Okay. What do you call refrigerators then? Something like schloofels?
Yes. The chili freezy box.
The food saver.
The food saver. It's a good name, actually.
So I feel like you need to explain the aubergine. Because you might be the only person in the world who calls it that.
I'm not. Why is it called an eggplant?
I sent you the exact reason why, and it was your ancestors who gave it that name. We're just following what you told us.
Not this whole my ancestors thing. We fade through this. That's not me. I don't make the decisions. Oh, no.
Aubergine.
Aubergine.
Aubergine?
Factory sealed aubergine podcast.
Oh, God. What else is new, Dan, besides not doing household chores?
Not a whole lot, really. Not celebrating Valentine's Day, so...
That's good.
You went to see Deadpool.
I did.
How was that?
I am not a Deadpool fan. Not because I've read the comics and made an educated decision.
No, you've made a really, really stupid decision, as usual.
Yeah.
Explain to everyone why you dislike Deadpool.
I basically dislike Deadpool, and I've actually talked to a lot of people who have been pretty avid Deadpool fans over the years, and they said, okay, I can understand why. But I don't like Deadpool because of the way that cosplayers portray him. I don't read the comics. I had no knowledge of him, so my only knowledge was based off of cosplayers. And what I gathered from that character about that, because every cosplayer portrays him pretty much the same way. It's like just a character that you can be and have an excuse to be a huge, stupid asshole.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
But the movie was fantastic.
Really fantastic.
Yes, it was fantastic. It was one of the better Marvel movies in recent memory. However, it is through and through not a children's movie. Do not bring kids to it.
I saw somebody post on Facebook like some mother and father had went to see it or something and said, "This was the most disgusting movie I've ever seen. I can't believe Marvel would do this."
See, that's the problem, though, is that Marvel has created these movies that it's like, okay, these are family-friendly movies, but most of the superheroes, yes, they are. You know, Iron Man and...
Yeah, but like they've got the Punisher and stuff. The Punisher just flat out kills people.
Oh, yeah. But they're basing it off of the Avengers. The Punisher is a long time ago. It was really before the Marvel movies hit mainstream.
That film was shit.
The Avengers?
No, Punisher. Really bad.
Well, so I could see why parents would bring their kids to this. Like, it's another Marvel superhero movie. It's a good family-friendly movie. But I feel like, as a parent, you need to, first of all, not take your 5- and 6-year-old kids to a rated R movie. Like, that's just bad parenting. Second of all, do your research on what this character is.
So did Ellie enjoy it?
Oh, she loved it.
Oh, God.
It was
parent.
hyper violent and extremely sexualized.
Nice.
Really good, though. The character was just built for Ryan Reynolds. Just built for him.
It's just his personality, really, isn't it? And
yeah. The Deadpool is Ryan Reynolds. It's awesome. It was a really, really interesting way that they told the story. It bounced back and forth between what happened in the past and what was happening currently, and it kind of meshed those two until you got up to the climax, and then the climax was like, okay, everything's all together. You have all the pieces. Let's go.
Did you see the trailer for Batman versus Superman this week?
No.
The final trailer. It looks
The
awesome.
trailers in front of Deadpool were terrible. They have
some shit movies out at the moment.
They have a new movie coming out. I didn't even bother to memorize and waste the brain space of what it was called. But it is done. Did you ever see the Doom movie?
Yeah.
And they had that 2.5-minute section where it was first person?
Yeah.
They have an entire movie like that now.
Is that the crazy Henry thing?
Oh, yes. God, they had like a 3 or 4 minute trailer. It looks terrible.
I think it's meant to be, though.
I don't...
It's meant to be like a generic FPS spoof, I think.
I mean, I understand, like, okay, this is a technical accomplishment, but man, it looks bad. I would get sick. I ended up having to look away. I'm like, I would get sick watching a whole movie of this.
So I was playing Call of Duty earlier, and Crystal, because she doesn't play games, she was watching it. She said, I can't watch this because it gives me motion sickness.
Yeah, a lot of people get that from first-person shooters.
That's the bob, isn't it, of the head?
Yeah.
I think that's... Like, I had to, when Metal Gear Solid 5 came out, it had a camera shake thing where he sprints, and that was giving me a bad head, actually. I had to turn it off.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Huh. So, but yeah, Batman versus Superman looks very good.
There's a new Sacha Baron Cohen movie called The Brothers Grimsby. Oh, man.
It's just called Grimsby over here.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh. Interesting. That's right. You guys sometimes get different titles.
Yeah. Like the Ratchet and Clank games, they were always different titles over here.
Speaking of Ratchet and Clank, have you seen the new trailer for that movie?
Oh, yeah. It looks really good.
It's basically a movie iteration of the first game, and it's coming out alongside...
a reboot of the first game.
Yes. My mom and I are pumped for that. She loves Ratchet and Clank.
I love Ratchet and Clank. I always love them games.
She got a cat, an orange cat, and named it Ratchet.
Need to get another one called Clank.
She wanted to, but then we stole Ratchet and gave her our gray cat.
Oh.
Yeah.
Is that one called Clank?
Bubsy. Like Bubsy Bobcat from the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, I got it.
You got it? Oh, I just wanted to explain it for people who might not know.
I am a retro gaming encyclopedia, my friend. I know it all.
Oh, do you?
Nope.
This is so I'm still looking at pictures of brooms. And
the long hours must just fly by.
This is how I picture. This is what I picture you having in your house just because you live in England. It's this really stupidly ornate silver dustpan, and it looks like a bent butter knife broom.
Oh yeah, we're all crawling around on the floors with monocles in our eyes with these silver.
It's a speck of dust and coin.
Oh, not this shit again. I don't think everybody's recovered from last week's Twitter incident.
Oh, Jesus. Okay, I'm going to close the pictures of the brooms. Like, just since we've been talking about it, I've just been...
You're getting really distracted by brooms, Eric. I think you've got a weird fetish.
So Christy, when she graduated with her master's degree, my uncle came down for the graduation and everything and wanted to buy her a graduation present. You know what she wanted?
A broom?
A broom. An O-cedar broom.
No, Eric, going back to the hob thing, my mum actually for Christmas one year asked my dad for a device called a hob scraper.
What?
Yes, it's a little scraper for getting the gunk off your hob or stove, if you so prefer. She asked for this for Christmas.
Hob scraper. I'm going to look at... Dude, that's just like a safety razor.
I don't
Your dad got off cheap that year.
Don't even know where she finds these things. I mean,
all you do is you take a razor blade and scrape off your hob.
She sent me a text this week saying, we're thinking about having Sunday lunch at ours on Easter Sunday. Would you and Crystal like to come? It's over a month. Why is she planning Sunday lunch?
Is your mom retired yet?
No.
Oh, you say, well, she's probably got a ton of time on her hands.
No, she's not. My dad retires next year from the police, but she doesn't, so...
I don't even know what your mom does.
Neither do I.
No, she just goes somewhere during the day and comes home?
Something to do in a post room. I don't know.
Oh, she's a mail lady.
She's not, though.
You seriously don't know what your own mother does?
Not really. It's very vague. She works in a big organisation filtering letters for them or something. I don't know.
That is quite vague.
It's quite vague. It's quite vague aubergine.
The vague aubergine.
Get your vague aubergines.
Partially see-through.
So I don't think Tom's internet is returning anytime soon.
Send him an El Massagio.
El Massagio. Speaking of which, you need to get Black Ops 3.
Is it on sale yet?
I don't know. It was 25 quid over here, so maybe.
My buddy wants me to buy Monster Hunter on the Wii U.
No.
Why?
Don't do it.
Why?
Because it's pants.
Well, if you don't like Monster Hunter, you're going to hate Final Fantasy Explorers.
I probably would.
So don't buy it then.
I won't.
God, Black Ops 3 is $40. No, $60. Damn it. I'm not paying. Oh, it's only $40 at El Target.
El Targeto.
El Target. Oh, never mind. It's 50. It's 60. Yeah, screw that.
Oh, okay.
I want to play some Goon Game.
Goon Game.
Humiliation.
So if you haven't heard our old videos, which most people probably haven't, back in the day, me and Eric used to play a lot of Black Ops together. And because when I say gun, it sounds like goon. Apparently.
Goon.
So it's therefore Goon Game. And we also care packages are care packagios.
You know what I miss the most, though, is Sticks and Stones. Man, I was good at that.
Was that the one with the ballistic knives and the tomahawk?
Yes.
Yeah, that was a good... That's not on the new one.
How depressing.
I know. Why would they take that out? Especially now, because you can do boost jumps. So you could do a boost jump and then throw a tomahawk, and
so
it'd be awesome.
Somebody probably got offended by the fact that there were tomahawks in there. Says, you're belittling our reputation as a people.
There is actually a combat axe in the new one.
Is there?
Yeah, you can equip it, but there's not a specific game mode anymore.
Can you throw it?
Yeah.
Oh. Well, shit the bed.
You're always shitting the bed.
I was really hoping Tom would be here because I wanted to talk about Firewatch.
Firewatch.
Oh.
Tom been playing it too.
Well, he was meant to buy it.
Oh.
The game is fantastic. For anybody who's just kind of on the fence about it, it's worth $17.
That's quite cheap.
It's very cheap because it's on sale this first week. Even at $20, it's still a fantastic deal. It's kind of along the same lines of The Vanishing of Ethan Carter and Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. There's really not a whole lot to do other than let this story unfold and experience it. But man, the way that they tell that story is so good.
That's becoming a kind of a new genre, isn't it? It's kind of an FPS, but not.
Yes.
It's kind of removing the gun and just giving you storyline with not much else to do.
There are things to do. So the basic premise of it is you're a guy named Henry whose wife developed very early onset Alzheimer's, and you weren't capable of taking care of her anymore. So she went to live with her parents in Australia. And to cope with what's going on, you took a summer job as a fire watch in the Wyoming wilderness. So the game picks up with you getting to your tower, and the only interaction you have with other people in the whole game is through a radio with another fire watch whose name is Delilah. You never meet her, but the whole story unfolds between the voice acting between you and Delilah. And she'll ask questions and you can have different responses that they don't change the outcome of the game. It's just building character. But the voice acting is top notch. And the whole time you have no HUD. All you have is a compass and a map. And she says, oh, I need you to go here and check this out. And you have to use your map and your compass to navigate your way through this wilderness and get to where you're going and figure out. And very early in the game, some really weird stuff starts happening, and it just develops this whole sense of paranoia, and you're trying to figure out what's going on. It's so good. I played through the whole game in 2 sittings.
How long is it?
Maybe 4 hours.
Oh, right.
Yeah. But it can be longer because it takes a little getting used to not having a compass to say, go here, go there. And it is a lot of just walking through the wilderness, but the game has such a fantastic art style. It's like really vibrant watercolor is almost what it looks like.
Sounds intriguing, but I don't know. I'm not sold.
I wasn't sold either, but then I said, you know what? We've entered a new era with games where 10 years ago, hell, maybe even 5 years ago, these types of games would have really struggled to get out. 10 years ago, they never would have made their way out because they wouldn't have made it past the pitch. They'd be like, you want to develop a game that's going to cost $20 million and only be 4 hours long, and it's this? It's not even a game? No thanks.
But at the same time, you get like AAA games made where they're not very long. So
yeah, but they're using tried franchises and tried formulas. It's like, this will sell.
Yeah.
But
like Call of Duty's campaign, that's never been long, has it?
It's usually around 6 hours to 9 hours.
No, I don't consider that enough. If it didn't have the multiplayer, it wouldn't be enough substance.
Well, look at Uncharted. You don't consider that to be worth it?
Well,
there are caveats, and Uncharted falls into that category where I think it's wholeheartedly worth it because it is such a fantastically high-paced game with phenomenal storytelling. It's like, this was worth $60.
I bought the Uncharted collection for PS4, and I finished Uncharted 2 yesterday. Man, that game's awesome.
That game is so good. That train scene is one of the best.
It's just so good. The only thing I don't like is how you have to repeat it. It's a bit stupid.
You have to repeat it?
Yeah, it opens up when he's hanging off the cliff, the game, and then it jumps back in time, and then you have to later on do the train bit.
Oh, yeah.
But it's from a slightly different camera angle just to mix it up a bit.
Yeah.
But it's just so good. And then the end when they're in Shambhala and it all starts just getting destroyed and you have to run across a bridge that's fallen down. It's just so cool.
So with those experience games, I feel like they're pretty easy to get burned, like 3/4 home. I was kind of looking forward to that based on what Tom told me. And then I bought it for $2. And man, that game is not worth $2.
Really?
Because all you do is you hold R2 to drive a car across the screen and choose dialogue options.
That sounds fun.
And it's 45 minutes long.
I mean, there's some really, really good ones. There is some really good ones, but boy, there's some bad ones too.
Yeah.
I mean, because anybody can kind of get a game published now, so.
But I feel like there's been enough support behind Firewatch from big names and a lot of big companies that, okay, I mean, they had an E3 presence.
Okay.
It's worth giving a shot. There are certain games where I take that approach of you need to vote with your dollar. If this game sells well, we're going to continue to get things like this.
See, indie game I'm really interested but won't be able to play because I don't have an Xbox One, is Cuphead. Have you seen Cuphead?
I have not.
Cuphead is basically, it's done like a 1930s cartoon, and it just looks spectacular.
Huh.
Like, really well done. Really, really well done.
You know what? It's going to come out on PC, too.
Is it?
Yeah, okay. I'm going to get that. When does that come out?
I'm not sure, but
2016.
Looks very good.
That looks really good. Like
it does.
Old Steamboat Willie style.
Yeah. Did you ever play Mickey Mania back in the day when you could play the Steamboat Willie levels?
Mickey Mania? What console was that?
Originally it was for
Genesis, right?
Genesis, but then they redid it for PS1, I think.
I did not play that. No,
I used to have it, and it was really
good. Oh yeah,
there's
the old. I see a picture of the old Steamboat Willie levels.
Yeah,
didn't Kingdom Hearts have a Steamboat Willie level?
Yes, it did.
Kingdom Hearts 2, right?
I think so.
Well, I wouldn't know because I still have it sealed.
Kingdom Hearts is the single most confusing game narrative in the world.
The first one was
no idea what's
pretty
going on.
easy to understand, and then it just went downhill from there.
Oh man, because they've had all the spin-offs as well, and they don't tell you anything if you haven't played them.
Yeah.
So, and then it's just so confusing. I don't know how anybody makes sense of it, but I love the games.
You just kind of have to abandon story.
Mm.
Cuphead, huh?
I mean, the Dream Drop Distance, which was the 3DS one, that incorporated new characters from The World Ends With You, an obscure Square Enix game.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and then there's the Final Fantasy characters and Disney characters, and then there's Heartless and something else. I forget. But they're called Nobodies, and then...
I remember the day I went and purchased the first Kingdom Hearts. Like, that's how excited I was about it. And, well, actually, I was grounded at the time. But my mom felt bad, and she's like, I told her that I'd been saving up to buy this game. And said, can I go get it? She goes, yeah, but you've got 45 minutes. And at the time, my girlfriend at the time was house sitting for her aunt and uncle, and I wasn't supposed to go over there, but I stopped there anyway. Like, that was my whole excuse for going out of the house to go see her. And then I had to rush over to Best Buy to get Kingdom Hearts.
Oh, young love.
Yeah.
Beautiful story of love. For
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts 3, God knows when that's going to come out. That's been a while in development.
I just lost interest in it.
It's been so long.
The Game Boy Advance one, the coded, what was that, Memories?
I don't know.
Memories coded? I don't know. But they redid it on PS2 for Memories Recoded.
Dream Drop Distance is actually really good for 3DS.
Chain of Memories is what it was called.
But I think aren't they doing another one which is called Kingdom Hearts 2.3 Final Chapter something or other, something, which is
probably another
Dream Drop Distance and some other obscure ones which haven't been released. It just makes no sense.
It's too convoluted, man. I've just lost interest in it. It was really cool at the time because it was Disney with Final Fantasy, and that's what drew me in.
Yeah.
And then it just kind of went,
It's apparently Kingdom Hearts 2.9.
Well, that makes sense.
Oh, yeah.
God. Do they all have stupid names everywhere?
I think so.
Jeez.
It's a Japanese thing.
Huh. Well, we should probably get into our game for the week.
We should.
We were playing the phenomenal Oddworld Abe's Exoddus, the sequel to Abe's Odyssey.
Why did we miss out Odyssey?
Because we'd recently just played it on New and Tasty, and I feel like that's the one that a lot of people have played. So that's why I chose Exoddus.
Personally, for me, Exoddus is the better game.
You think?
Yes.
See, I'm going to disagree.
Really?
I enjoyed Odyssey way more. So this comes from GT Interactive, made by Oddworld Inhabitants, and Lorne Lanning.
Look, Eric has knowledge.
Oh, I know. Yeah, I got knowledge.
This is a first.
The Oddworld Inhabitants set out to make, originally, a quintology of 5 Oddworld Odyssey games. And Abe's Odyssey was to be the first. Munch's Odyssey was second. And that's where they stopped. So Abe's Exoddus is not part of the quintology. Stranger's Wrath is not part of the quintology.
Oh, really?
Abe's Exoddus is just it's a diversion of, it's basically a continuation of the Abe story. And that was the confusing part for me when Munch's Odyssey came out, because it's like, oh, well, what the hell? Oddworld is about Abe. And then as that one came out and I learned more about it, it's a quintology. They set out to make 5 games that explored the different biomes of Oddworld. And Abe was one of them, and then there was Munch. And apparently there was supposed to be a third one, unconfirmed, called Squeak's Odyssey, but as we know, that one never came out.
Yeah. There's another canned one called The Brutal Ballad of Fungus Clot, or something like that.
Really?
Which was, it was going to be built using the Stranger's Wrath engine, and he was going to be a big burly dude with guns for arms. And I was looking at this the other day, and I was like, I've never heard of this, but it's been on the cutting room floor for a lot of years.
Huh.
So, but I think Oddworld Inhabitants at the moment is focusing on actually doing an HD remake for Exoddus as well.
Well, the Oddworld Inhabitants actually closed their doors in 2005 after Stranger's Wrath, and initially there was a lot of speculation that Lorne Lanning made that decision due to the way that EA bungled the marketing for Stranger's Wrath. And he was just pissed.
Stranger's Wrath is a really good game, though, like really good.
Oh, it is phenomenal, but it did not do nearly as well as it could have because of the piss poor marketing.
Yeah, it's a really innovative FPS. It's basically it's actually a hybrid between third person and first person, because you can platform in third person and then switch seamlessly to first person, and you actually have a crossbow, but you use this thing called live bait, and you have to pick up like actual creatures from the environment and use them as your ammo from your crossbow, and it's just so clever. It's really good.
And it had one of the best storyline twists in any game. The only other one that
I did not see that coming.
The only other game that's ever caught me that off guard was Legend of Zelda: Link Between Worlds. I'm pretty good at picking up plot lines, and like I can kind of guess where things are coming, but this one, complete blindside. And this is it's a spoiler I refuse to put on our show. If we ever play through Stranger's Wrath, I refuse to talk about that because it is best experienced.
I'm with you. That really did blow my mind the first time I saw it.
And it made the last 2 hours of the game just so good.
Yeah. You know how you were speaking about Lorne Lanning?
Yeah.
He's basically the director of Oddworld Inhabitants, isn't he?
Yes.
And I finished Abe's Exoddus this week and actually found out for the first time that he does Abe's voice. Which
does
I never
he really?
Knew. Yeah, really.
Huh.
Quite a lot of the others. So
I really, really like Lorne Lanning. I think he's always been a little bit of a visionary when it comes to games development, and he always took that mindset of the industry is so risk averse that they don't want to have. They don't want to invest a ton of money into projects that don't have proven potential. And when Abe's Odyssey came out, it did fantastically well. And then they said, we want you to have a sequel ready by Christmas. They developed Abe's Exoddus in 9 months from the ground up.
I can't believe they did that. That's really good. I mean, there's a lot to this game.
Oh, well, they utilized, it's basically Abe's Odyssey 2.0.
Yeah.
All they did is they just gave it new puzzles. But the pre-rendered backgrounds are so exceptionally detailed.
They are. Even to this day, they still look quite good.
Well, I was reading somewhere, too, that the cinematics in this game cost about $2 million to make, which the total budget of the whole game was $4 million. So they spent half of their budget just on the cinematics.
Wow, there's not that many either.
No, But cinematics back then cost a ton. Look at how much it used to cost to make those Final Fantasy cinematics.
Yeah.
Tons of money.
They always used to have on the box, like 18 hours of FMVs or something.
Oh, man.
I remember that back in the day.
Yeah, unfortunately, they didn't... They closed the doors because of financing issues and things like that and decreased sales. So Abe's Odyssey did really well. So they did Abe's Exoddus, and they had twice the expectation as they did for Abe's Odyssey, and then they continued that so on with Munch's Odyssey and Stranger's Wrath, but sales kept decreasing, and there's just a lot of frustration built up. So when Lorne Lanning came back and said, hey, we're going to remake Abe's Odyssey for PS4, that was kind of a turning point because he was finally able to do what he wanted to do in this current gaming environment of, okay, we can fund ourselves.
Yeah. It was good. New and tasty was very good. I liked it a lot. I'm really looking forward to the remake of Exoddus 2.
Well, yeah, that's actually going to be coming out soon too, isn't it?
I think so. Well, they haven't announced any dates, so...
So let's talk about the gameplay of Abe's Exoddus. And this is where I think I'm going to disagree with you on why Abe's Exoddus is better.
Why?
Or why Abe's Odyssey is better, sorry.
Because it's easier.
If you want to boil it down to a very singular thought, sure.
I'm with you there. I actually wrote it down earlier in the week that I think that Exoddus is much trickier of the two games.
It's less approachable, I think, is what it is.
It's an evolution of the mechanics of the original, but because some of the sections are so tricky that you really have to have good reflexes, know the mechanics inside out. It's not something you can just pick up and play. You have to figure it out as you go along.
So, for people who have not played any of the Oddworld Abe games, it is a side-scrolling 2D puzzle/platforming game separated into screens. So when you move to the edge of the screen, the environment is replaced with a new piece of screen and different characters or enemies on there. There's really technically no combat. Abe can possess certain enemies and take control of their body to manipulate different pieces of the environment. You can interact with different mudokens via game speak, which is a crucial part of this game. Very complex. You have to memorize what each things are. So if you hold L1 and triangle, you'll say hello. Square, you'll say follow me. X, you'll say wait. Circle, you'll say work. And then L2, there's a whole different set of game speak options. Like you can address everyone. You can tell everyone to come with you. You can hit people. You can say sorry, or you can fart.
I love the farting.
Which farting is a crucial part of this game.
It is. Well, it was in the original as a joke, and they kind of incorporated an actual element where it is used in Exoddus as well. But before we get into that, Eric, I have to talk to you about, have you seen what happens if you actually fart when you're standing next to a fellow mudoken?
Yeah, they run away, don't they?
Yeah, they go foof and then just walk away.
Can't you? I have a vague memory of having mudokens stand by a cliff and farting and having them jump off.
Of course.
Does that work?
I would think so, yeah.
Okay.
Because they're all stupid, so...
So, this one... I feel like the story doesn't directly follow Odyssey.
It does.
Like, it
literally, at the end of Odyssey, escapes within a bird portal and then appears on a cliff and gets knocked off the cliff, gets knocked out, and then the Mudoken ghosts come to him and say he has to go.
It does. Sorry.
So, yeah. Wrong on that one, my friend.
Yes, very wrong. Abe's Odyssey, very, very quick gist of it. Abe is a janitor in Rupture Farms and discovers that the sales are plummeting and they need a new product, and they're going to start killing Mudokens and selling the Mudokens. And
it's important to mention that they are slaves. They're not employed.
Yeah,
basically the Mudokens have their lips stitched together, so they're not meant to speak, but somehow Abe can still speak.
Abe's the only one with his lips stitched together.
Is he?
That's why they call him Stitch Lips.
I thought they all had.
No.
I thought there was a few like that.
He's
in
the
original.
only one with his lips stitched together.
So what did he do?
I don't know. That's interesting.
Maybe he was trying to get everybody to follow him everywhere. And
So in the process, Abe tries to escape. He does, and then tries to free all these Mudokons and get Rupture Farms shut down. Exoddus picks up with... Go ahead.
they're on a. He just rescued all of the Mudokons from Rupture Farms, and then the guy who's the big shaman knocks him off the cliff, and he gets knocked out, and then he gets visited by some Mudokon ghosts who say you have to go to Necro Mines because the Gluckons, who are the big bad guys, are actually mining the bones of the Mudokon ancestors and using them for some reason that we don't know yet.
Mm-hmm.
That's the basic gist.
But you learn that they're using the bones to make a drink called Soulstorm Brew.
Yes.
And they start giving it away to get them hooked on it, and then as soon as they're hooked...
But it makes the Mudokons really sick.
Yeah.
So
one of the best elements, I think, of this, in Abe's Odyssey, your only interaction with the Mudokons was, hi, come here, follow me, wait, work. That was about it. Here, the Mudokons have different temperaments. So they can be angry, they can be sad, they can be slap happy, and there's one more.
they could be sick.
Yes, they can be sick. And depending on how you interact with them, so if they witness you killing another Mudokon, they'll get very depressed and they won't follow you, and you need to go up to them and say sorry.
Then they're fine.
Yeah, okay. Sorry, just sent your friend into a meat grinder.
There's also a new type of Mudokon, the blind Mudokons.
Oh, those guys are terrible.
Yeah, basically like Abe has his lip stitch, these guys have their eyes sewn together, which is awful.
And they're white.
Yeah, but basically when you talk to a normal Mudokon, you'd say hello and say follow me, and they'd follow you, and then they would stop when you stop. But if because they're blind, they just keep going. So you have to kind of strategically tell them to wait while you move something out of their way, otherwise it'll kill them. Or I think it's important to say, Eric, at this point that in this game you can save the Mudokons if you want, or you can kill them, or you can just leave them. There's nothing forcing you to do it apart from certain points where you have to rescue certain ones. But
yeah, there's
really,
a few
you
parts
can get through the game with killing most of them. If you want to.
Like you said, there are a few where you have to save it just to advance to the next room, which is very different from the first Oddworld, because that one they encouraged you and actually forced you to save a good chunk of them, and then they had a few hidden rooms. This one, it's interesting because you start off in the factory again, going through saving Mudokons, but then you end up out in the wilderness, and for like 2 hours, you don't see a single other Mudokon.
You do if you find the secret areas.
And those are indicated by bottles of Soulstorm Brew, correct?
Yes, correct.
And I only ever found one of those.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow, there's loads.
Yeah.
There's actually a secret area in the first screen of the game. So
Interesting.
there's a minecart in the first screen. It's like in the foreground, and you can, if you press down when you're in front of it, it goes down, and there's a secret area there.
But does it show the rocks falling down? Like
No,
give you an
because
indication?
You can't see. I think that one is not indicated in any way, so you could miss that one. I actually, this week, I wanted to challenge myself to try and rescue all of the Mudokons. And I got up to the last level Soulstorm Brewery, rescuing them all. Like, literally them all, up until that point. And then I accidentally went through a door, which I didn't think was the end of a level. And then it was. So I missed 2 of them. And then I just, from that point, just went, you know what, I don't care. Just ran through.
There are some very, very tricky spots where you have to try to save them. The one that I gave up on, where I finally said, you know what, I'm done, was, I think it was in the Slig Barracks or just before it. Mm-hmm. You go through a secret door, and there are fleeches. You pull a lever, and the fleeches will like slowly come down. You go down a screen, and there's all of these buzzsaws or meat grinders, and you need to get the Mudokons to run past them and wait at certain points to get them into the portal. And I just said, you know what, I can't be bothered with this right now, because the fleeches will pop down and kill you.
I know this bit.
Yeah.
What you actually have to do is strategically get the fleeches to fall into the saws before you move the Mudokons.
Ugh.
So, but I did that one.
So the game is filled with a variety of enemies. You've got your basic sligs, who are
they're kind of like slug things, but the glukkons have give them mechanical trousers so they can walk.
Yeah, and then they're kind of like a cross between a slug and a paramite.
And basically, they're really horrible creatures. They like hit mudokens and stuff. When
Super aggressive. They have machine guns. What was cool about this game is that if they were in the background, they could shoot forward into the foreground, which added
an Odyssey too.
But they didn't do that as much. I feel like there weren't that many locations with them doing that.
Yeah.
Then you've got the airborne sligs, which are like little helicopters that fire grenades, which are super annoying. Then you have your paramites, which are like spiders mixed with sligs. Like they've got the mouth of the slig with the tentacles, but they're like crabs/spiders, and they're interesting because if there's one on a screen, they will run away from you unless you corner them.
They've got a pack mentality, don't they, and stuff. It's quite clever for the time.
And if there's two in a room, you're dead. You're toast. You got to run away from them. Then there are scrabs, which are like crabs mixed with centaurs. They've got like a human body with crab legs and then like a head with this sharp beak that sticks out of it. Super violently aggressive. If there's two of them in a room, they will attack each other. One dies.
Yeah. But this game is the first time you can actually possess scrabs and paramites, and originally you couldn't.
No.
So
you could only possess the sligs.
So when you possess an enemy in this game, you get full control of their bodies. Like all of the enemies have their own unique game speak and things they could do with the world. So
the scrabs you really couldn't do anything with. Like you couldn't talk to anything. You could kill.
No, because they're one-minded. They're aggressive.
Yeah.
So, but the paramites have a complex language system where they make different noises, and they can get the others to follow them, and then they can climb up webs and stuff like that. It's really clever stuff.
Or you can utilize them, and I had to do this a few times. Utilize a partner paramite to attack the fleeches.
Yeah.
And let me talk about the fleeches. Holy shit.
You love a fleech, don't you?
No. This is the only enemy in the Oddworld games that will not kill Abe in one hit. It's the only enemy that you can get hit with and run away and survive. However, they will hunt you ruthlessly. They are worms with tongues, and they'll hit you maybe 5 or 6 times before they'll devour you whole. But they're
you know the backstory behind fleeches, by the way?
Well, hold on. They're the only enemy that can actually... Because usually when you run away from an enemy, you can just jump up on a ledge and be fine. These ones will climb up after you. They'll come down after they'll follow you through screens, and it just... They hunt in packs, and they all hit you, and it's just super annoying. But what's the backstory?
But basically, the fleeches used to be pets of the glukkons, and then because they like eating stuff so much, all the glukkons flushed them down the toilet. And they ended up in the wild.
Where'd you learn that?
It's somewhere in the game or in the guide or something. Huh. I've got the guide for the original strategy guide for it somewhere, which I didn't use at all this week, I must say. No guides at all this week. I'm getting through this.
The first time you meet fleeches was just super obnoxious because there's a section of about 5 continuous screens that you need to run through and avoid these fleeches. It just
I feel like that's true of a lot of the screens in Exoddus. You're running through them at pace, and you kind of have to have lightning fast reactions.
I really liked that though. So basically, you progress through the factory or the mines, and then you escape, and then you have to go through again, like in Odyssey, the Scrab Temple and the Paramite Temple. But at the end of each of those is so cool because it's about this 15 screen section of really high paced, flawless movement. One mistake and you're dead.
Yeah, I like the ending sections, aren't they?
Yeah, they are super cool. And it's all about precision timing because if you pop across a screen, you might need to know, I need to hit X and roll, or I need to let go or jump at this time or drop down. And most of the enemies will kill you in one hit. And half the time you're being chased by fleeches, so you can't slow down.
Yeah.
Really, really cool.
The Paramite one is the best, I think. The Paramite level's better than the Scrab levels.
Oh yeah, I didn't like the Scrab Temple, but the puzzles inside of the Paramite Temple were embarrassingly easy.
Yeah.
The Scrab ones they took a few tries each time, and I felt like they were longer because there were like 2 or 3 sections within each room. Whereas the ones inside the Paramite were like, okay, here's one room, maybe pop into a second one, you're done. The Paramite Temple took me maybe 10 minutes, the whole thing.
What's interesting about these is they kind of develop a hub world in these levels where you're in a room full of doors and you have to go through each door to then progress to the next section, which is common across the game from this point.
Yeah.
So that was quite interesting. I don't know, because each section's different, it's quite cool, but I don't know if I like the whole hub world thing, and particularly if you get towards the end level where there's 3 different hub worlds to get through before you can finish.
Oh, where you had to go through like the Slig Barracks, and then you had to go to Soulstorm Brewery, and then you had to go to General Aslick's.
No. When you're in Soulstorm Brewery, there is Hub World 1 with all the doors. So then you go through the door to Hub World 2, and then there's all the doors. Then you have to go through the door to Hub World 3 and finish all the other doors, and then finally the finale.
Ugh. So I wasn't anywhere close to the end.
No, you get to Slig Barracks?
Yeah, I was in Slig Barracks.
Basically, when you finish the Scrab and Paramite Temples, you go in. It's a 2-disc game, so at this point,
which is weird because the first disc was only like an hour and 45 minutes long.
Yeah, I don't know.
I think the cinematics took up a lot of space.
They must have done. And then you pop in the second disc and you're off to a place called Fico Depot, which is kind of links to all of the different places, even Rupture Farms. There's like a doorway which is locked off because Abe destroyed it in the first one. And Eric, I wanted to talk to you about this bit. Did you notice that there's a door in Fico Depot called Viker's Labs, which is locked off?
Yes.
Viker's Labs is actually in Munch's Odyssey.
Yep.
So I thought that was really cool. I forgot that was there. So kind of foreshadowing of what was to come. And then when you're in Fico Depot, you have to unlock the gates to Soulstorm Brewery there's basically 3 Gluckens who govern over 3 areas. There's the Executive Office and the Slig Barracks and the Bone Works. And each has a Glucken leader who you have to possess and get them to tell a Slig to open the gates to Soulstorm Brewery.
I forgot about possessing the Gluckens.
Yeah, it's really cool actually, because that's again new to Exoddus. You couldn't do it on the first one. They have a really funny running animation where they kind of do this hop. Have you seen it?
Yeah,
you get that far?
Yeah. Well, I've beaten this before.
Okay, it's really good. But in this section, it also introduces the concept of Abe drinking Soulstorm Brewery, and then Soulstorm Brew. Sorry, and then when you fart, you can actually possess Abe's fart and use it to move around the environment. And then when you release it, it explodes.
I love that part.
It's just so good.
Well, I got stuck in a part because they introduced that, and then you don't utilize it for a while. So there's a room with a bunch of Sligs that you'd have no chance of running by, and I completely forgot about it. I'm like, oh, okay. And the cool part is your farts can go between screens too.
Yeah.
So basically, you can
send them anywhere.
Floating,
you can use them to explore.
Explosive fart. It's awesome.
It's so good. It actually becomes quite a common mechanic towards the end of the game when you're going through the Slig Barracks and stuff. I really, really laughed at the Slig Barracks, by the way, because there's one of the Gluckens is called like Director Aslick or something.
And he forgets
Vice President Aslick.
Yeah.
It also introduces at this point a kind of a fake news report from a Slig.
Mom News.
Mom Magog on the March, it's called.
Yeah.
And where you basically Abe can put his hand on these panels and it'll give you some advice or a general hint about what to do.
Oh, there's such a funny one. The very first one that you watch, he says, if you have any questions, pull the lever to your right. So like, all right, I go pull the lever and a rock comes down and kills you.
It's so good. And this Slig will say stupid things and then it'll cut to one of the Gluckens saying something like, General Drippick is really stupid.
He forgets his name.
He goes, my name's not. And then one of the Mudoken slaves goes, Drippick, sorry. He goes, Drippick, I knew that. And there's another one where Vice President Aslick goes, Uncle Aslick's your friend. And he's like, before this, it cuts to him and he goes, those stinking slaves. It's just really good.
It
really
is
good.
the comedy in this game is great. It's overall
it's minimal storyline really, but when it comes together really well, and like when you possess the different characters, like the Sligs are really aggressive, and then you have to kind of use Sligs to open these voice locks, and Sligs can make these noises like a buzz noise and then a stupid laugh, and then you have to do it in a sequence to open doors and stuff, and then. But Sligs can also do things like when you've possessed them, you can say, look out, and then all the Mudokons on the screen will duck down so you can shoot other Sligs and stuff like that without hurting the Mudokons. And that's pretty cool.
There's a lot of really precise timing or very clever puzzling in this game. Like, some of the Sligs will be sleeping, and in order to get the Mudokons out, you have to get them to a bird portal and chant so the bird portal will open up. But the Mudokons, when they're following you, will copy what you're doing. And if you want to get past sleeping Sligs, you have to creep. You do a little tiptoe past them.
Yeah,
and the Mudokons will
I love
follow
this,
you.
by the way, in the first section where you rescue 5 of your friends, and you have to sneak past a sleeping Slig and they make more bloody noise when they sneak. It's just so funny. But there's loads of daft mechanics in this one. Like there's a section with a minecart, where you're in like a rotating circular minecart on a track, and you kind of have to disarm mines before you go over them, otherwise you kill Mudokons and stuff.
There weren't a lot of mines that you had to disarm in this game. I feel like there were a ton of those in Abe's Odyssey where you'd have to get up and the mine would be beeping with a different sequence, and you'd have to memorize that sequence and stop it when it was on green.
Yeah.
That was so hard.
It's not as common in this one.
Yeah.
But I feel to compensate for that, they made it harder to rescue the vast majority of the Mudokons. Particularly the secret areas in this, they are brutal, Eric. I mean, you didn't get through a lot of them, but they are difficult stuff.
Yeah,
you have to master this game to get through them. Really have to.
Which is why I think that I still think Abe's Odyssey is the better of the two games, simply because it's more approachable. There's a lot more features in this game. I think it's more fleshed out. It's more fun to play, but it's far less approachable because it does get to that point where things are super precise. And for that reason, I'm kind of glad that they implemented the quick save feature.
Yeah, you couldn't have got through this game without it.
No, you could press start at any time and do quick save. And when you die, that's where you'll come back to. So it was a very early save state. And you'd still have to do a memory card save if you wanted to come back and play later. But I was using that religiously. So I'd get through a really difficult section. I'm like, okay, if I stand here for a couple seconds and not die, okay, this is a good spot to save state, and then be on your way. But
thankfully, it's like pretty much instant, so it's quite
things
useful.
are so precise in some of these sections that you just get it and you go, oh, like there's a point where I just had to stop for a little bit and just be done and walk away from it. It had to do something with the fleeches. I don't know why I struggled so much with those. I just could not stand them.
I must have played this game a lot as a kid because I didn't struggle with it. Like, I am pretty good at it, I will admit, but I can see how other people would struggle if you haven't had that prior experience. Even if you've played Odyssey, this is a step up.
Yeah, this is not the game to start with. If you are not an Oddworld player, don't start with this one because it will turn you off to the series.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
overall, it's a very good game.
Oh, phenomenally good game. I'm really looking forward to the the remake of it.
Yes, don't call it an HD remake. It's a full remake.
Yes, it is a rebuild. How long did it take you to complete?
5 or 6 hours.
Which is really interesting because if you look at...
But I don't think that incorporates when you're quick saving.
What do you mean?
Like, you have a time on your memory card save, but I don't think it... I think it doesn't... Say if you quick saved and reloaded, I think it would go from a certain time. It wouldn't then add the time on.
Oh, yeah. So if
you know what I mean?
If you play for 10 minutes and die...
Yeah, it would go back to 10 minutes before. It's got to do that because I'm sure I played it for longer than that.
Yeah, it's about a 10-hour game, I think, conservatively.
Yeah.
I forgot what happens at the end of this.
Well, it depends really on how many Mudokons you save. I think you have to save 150 to get the good ending. I think, because there's two endings. There's a bad ending and a good ending. And the bad ending, basically, the Mudokons leave Abe to die, I think. Mm-hmm. And in the good ending, you have to destroy Soulstorm Brewery by switching off the main boiler, which causes a build-up in pressure. And then the brewery explodes, and Abe rescues the Mudokons, and then they open a thing called Alf's Rehab and Tea for the Soulstorm Brewery addicted Mudokons, which is quite funny. And they all tell stories about Abe and stuff. And then it ends with Abe saying there's still more Mudokons out there to save, which kind of, I suppose, blends into Munch's Odyssey a little bit, but not properly.
What's your take on the rest of the Oddworld games? Like, how did you take Munch's Odyssey? Because
Munch's Odyssey is an interesting one because it was in that kind of era of PS2 and Xbox games where we had 3D platformers, which were expanding. But it's got interesting mechanics, but it's not as good as the original.
I was super shocked. Like I mentioned before at the beginning with the Quintology, I was super shocked when it came out. I'm like, why is Abe not in this? Like, this is an Oddworld game. And you come across Abe, I think, at some point, and you can control him, but it's less than 50% of the game you spend playing as Abe. You play as Munch, who's this...
No. Abe's in it a lot. Yes.
Yeah, but it's the game is primarily about Munch.
Yeah.
And
Munch is basically he's like a amphibian, isn't he?
Yeah, and all of the other... I forget what kind of creature he's called, but all of his type of creatures...
Gabbit or something?
Yes, it is a Gabbit. They've all disappeared, and he's the last remaining one that he knows of. So he's on a quest to go and find his people. This
is again because the Gluckons are either experimenting on them or eating them. I think they eat the eggs. They eat the eggs, don't they?
My favorite mechanic of that game is, since he's an amphibian creature, he's really good in water, but he's super slow on land, so he gets a wheelchair and squeaks around in that, and he can go up hills and down hills. It's just so funny.
It's interesting, Munch's Odyssey, though, because it was an Xbox exclusive.
That's the reason I bought the Xbox, was Munch's Odyssey.
Yeah. And it was strange because it had been a traditionally PlayStation series.
Yep.
And I think it's come out on other platforms since, but you think you can get Munch's Odyssey now.
Yeah, they've got the HD for... I think they have it on PS3. I've got it on Vita, I think. I don't know. But Stranger's Wrath, I think, is one of the stronger Oddworld titles. That's definitely more worth your time. It's
just so innovative. It's really, really good.
It was
well worth playing.
I think the Vita version was free on PSN for a while, but even still, at whatever it costs, it's totally worth it.
Stranger's Wrath is kind of set out like a Wild West kind of theme, isn't it? And
you play as a bounty hunter.
Yeah, in a different part of Oddworld. So as this bounty hunter, you have to go and hunt down outlaws to get moolah, which is the currency, of course. Moolah, and then you have to. Then you can buy upgrades to your guns and stuff like that.
Fantastic voice. Oh, I love his voice.
Does it make you tingly, Eric?
It does. It gets me hot and bothered.
Oh, saucy.
Yeah, it's like a Wild West Arizona style game. It's super cool.
Well, I like one of the mechanics I remember from Stranger's Wrath is how you shake off damage, where he actually literally shakes himself.
Yep.
Kind of have to hammer a button to get rid of the damage.
I remember there being some very difficult boss battles in that game.
Oh, yeah, because you have all this live ammunition, like I said before, but there's all these different types. Like there's some bees, which are like a machine gun, and then there's ones where you could ensnare enemies in spider webs and stuff like that. I can't remember. I'm sure there's one which attracts attention. And
yeah, there's one where you can shoot it on the ground and it immobilizes people.
Yeah. That's the spiders, I think, the spiderweb one.
Mm-hmm.
But I love that world. That world in that game kind of fleshes out Oddworld a bit more because there's like distinct towns with different types of like people and things like that.
Are there any Mudokons in that game?
No, not at all.
That's too bad.
But it's very good. I'm sure. Isn't there some kind of ducks or pigs or something? I can't remember.
They're the ducks. Yeah, there's both. There's the duck people, then there's the pig people.
Yeah.
I really, really wish that they would continue on. Like I'd like to think that they're redoing New and Tasty and Abe's Exoddus to build a stockpile of cash to continue on with like a new Oddworld game. But Lorne Lanning was quoted as saying that he'd love to do an Oddworld film at some point, but he would need like $30 or $40 million to do the project properly, and he doesn't feel that he doesn't feel like a film publisher is going to take that risk, and basically because Hollywood's not really in a state to do something like that. But I think if you
I'd rather have a new game personally.
Well, I think if you see Ratchet and Clank movie succeed, because I think that's going to be big. I think it's going to do really, really well because it's going to be in theaters. They're doing a lot of marketing for it.
Mm. And it does look legitimately funny, though. I mean, the series was always quite funny, but it does look like...
Well, they're keeping the same voice actors from the game, too, which is very crucial. I think a lot of people are going to not relate, but they're going to connect with Captain Quark because he's goofy.
I love Captain Quark.
He's so funny. And
it's great.
Video game movies are universally a disaster.
Yeah.
There are very few. I personally like the Resident Evil movies, mainly because I like Mila Jovovich, but they're pretty bad. Like the first two Resident Evil movies are really bad. The last couple, they're pretty good.
They're making Assassin's Creed into a movie. I mean, that's got to be turd.
They're doing an Uncharted movie too. Which
Why?
I don't
Uncharted
know.
is a movie.
But Ratchet and
Put the
Clank,
game on the screen and we watch it.
Ratchet and Clank will lend itself very well because it's the games play out. Like
there's Dr. Nefarious in the film.
I think everyone's going to be in it. It's just such a
Dr.
great
Nefarious is so funny.
crew.
So funny. Dr. Nefarious just cracks me up when he gets stuck every so often, and he kind of because he's a robot, and then he starts playing out this stupid soap opera, and then his butler always has to hit him
because he's got his head damaged.
Yeah, it's just so good. Such a good series. I'm really looking forward to the game as well.
Well, the movie comes out in March. No,
yeah, something like
April.
that.
April.
Man, everything's coming out in April.
Oh man,
Uncharted 4. Dark Souls 3. I'm sure there's more.
I'm going to look and see if Dr. Nefarious is going to be in the movie, because if he's not, that'll be a huge missed opportunity.
I don't know if it's about Chairman Drek, like in the first one.
It's about Chairman Drek.
Is it? The plot of the first one was about Chairman Drek trying to build it.
I love the not the subtitle, but the marketing quote that they have for it. It's just called "Kick Some Asteroid."
Yeah, that would be changed if that was the title of it. Right?
Oh yeah. Do they have a cast yet? James Arnold Taylor is one of my favorite. You know, he's the same guy that did Titus for Final Fantasy X.
Yeah, I did know that actually. Yeah.
Dr. Nefarious is in it.
Yes. Should we go?
You can fly over here and we'll go to it.
Okay, I'm on it. I'll get a flight now.
You're going to be in Australia in April.
Yes, I am.
You're going to go see it in Australia?
If I can convince them.
There's a rumor that Mr. Zircon will be in it too. I think he's my favorite weapon.
I always liked the disco ball thing.
Oh, do you remember the old commercials that they used to have did they air those over there? The TV commercials for Ratchet and Clank games?
I don't think so.
They're so funny because they were actual people playing with the different weapons. Like one guy turns his friend into a mouse or something, and this hawk comes by and steals him.
Yeah, what I loved about the Ratchet and Clank games is the evolution of the weapons. That's so addictive. They took it to its extremes in, I think it was called Deadlocked.
Well, Deadlock was just an arena game.
But that was called Gladiator over here. But that was a weird one.
Well, yours were just Ratchet and Clank 1, Ratchet and Clank 2, Ratchet and Clank 3, right?
I don't think so.
Because ours was Up Your Arsenal. Oh, shit, what was the third one?
No idea, man.
I can't recall.
We had, what did we have? Going Commando.
That's what it was. Yeah, Going Commando.
Up Your Arsenal.
You had that? That's what they were called over there?
No.
Oh, okay. Size Matters was the PSP one.
Did you play a Nexus?
Into the Nexus? Yeah, that game was great.
It was, but it was so short.
I did not play Quest for Booty.
Oh, okay.
That was the PSP or the
I think I got
PSN.
that free on PS Plus, so I did play it. Going Commando is called Locked and Loaded in Europe.
Oh.
And then Ratchet and Clank 3, just called Ratchet and Clank 3. Ratchet Gladiator. Ratchet and Clank Size Matters.
Size Matters was really good. Secret Agent Clank was really good.
I liked Crack in Time was one of my favorites.
Those are I platinumed Tools of Destruction and Crack in Time.
Wow. Good stuff.
Well, wait. Tools of Destruction, I don't think that had trophies. What were all the PS3 ones?
Tools of Destruction, Quest for Booty, and Crack in Time.
Okay, then into the Nexus.
But again, those were called Ratchet and Clank Future in America, but they were just called Ratchet and Clank over here.
Only the first one was called Future.
No, apparently they all are.
I don't think so.
It says it on Wikipedia, so...
Are you sure?
It must be true. I'm reading it right now. But anyway...
All for One was garbage.
Ratchet and Clank is very good. We like it.
Yeah. Dan, should we read some emails?
We have them.
We have emails. You want to send us...
Email.
Two. You want to send us an email, factorysealed@manatank.com. I got to get into our email account here.
Oh, so prepared.
First one comes from Jack Grant. He was one of the winners last week to play this alongside us. Abe's Exoddus and question. He writes, "Hey everyone at Factory Sealed, thanks for Exoddus in the last giveaway. I'll be honest, my playthrough did not last long. The game definitely showed its age and didn't really provide any driving force for me. Since the narrative is kind of weak, its only reason to play, in my opinion, is the gameplay mechanics, which seemed weak and repetitive. Granted, I did not play long, so I may be completely wrong."
You are wrong, Jack.
At the beginning, the gameplay is very, very weak. The mechanics don't really open up till about 2 or 3 hours into the game. Yeah. Also, here's a question. What do you all think was or is the best gameplay mechanic to be in a game?
God, that's a tough one.
I already have my answer.
What is it?
There's two, and it comes from Dark Cloud 2. The geode system, where you have to go into the dungeons, collect the geodes to generate different pieces of town, and you get to build it and put it back together the way that you want. However, the coolest piece of that was that the main town that was not affected by this time disaster, you had to go back to town and recruit certain people to move into the new towns. However, each person had stipulations of where they wanted to live, what their house looked like, and who they wanted to live near. Really, really cool. And then the second piece of that was the weapon synthesizing from both Dark Cloud and Rogue Galaxy.
Oh, Rogue Galaxy. I love that game so much.
Not many games have weapon synthesizing like that, at least to that depth. No. That's my favorite. The number one is definitely the town building aspect from Dark Cloud 2, bar none. And now that game's out on PS4, I think everybody needs to play it because it is still universally one of my favorite games.
Well, I'm going to go perhaps a predictable route for me, but Final Fantasy X's sphere grid system is...
See, I thought you would have said the battle system where you could jump people out.
Well, that too. I do like that as well, but it's also kind of tedious because you have to swap your characters.
Why did you like the sphere grid? I mean, I understand why it's good, but like,
if you play the expanded version where you have the advanced sphere grid and you can have complete flexibility over how your characters evolve, I really like that. It's really good.
I kind of want to go back and play the HD remake and play it on advanced mode where you can go any part of the sphere grid at any time.
Literally just said that, Eric.
But they... Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were talking about the PS2 version. I didn't know you... Okay, whatever.
Well, they're all the same.
Well, in the HD remake, they give you the option to go wherever you want at any point. You can't do that on the PS2 one.
Yes, you can.
No, you can't.
You can on the one I had.
Well, maybe they gave you a special version. But you could actually get to a point in the game where you couldn't progress because you didn't do the sphere grid properly.
Yeah, I did like it though. It's
Yeah.
I really like games. Even if it's not an RPG where it has RPG elements where you can level up, like in Ratchet and Clank when you can level up the guns. I love that. It's so addictive.
And then you try to find all the components for the Rhino.
Yeah.
Oh.
I used to love getting the new ones just to see what they'd come up with next. And has the Ratchet and Clank been out yet where you get a gun that can turn people into pixels? Or is that the new one?
I haven't seen anything about that.
Oh, there's a pixel gun. Turns people into pixels. It's really good.
We have one more email from Ryan Reynolds, who is also a winner.
From Deadpool.
Yes. He was also a winner.
Congratulations, Ryan.
He writes, "Hello, Factory Sealed crew. First,
Hello.
I really want to thank you for the Odd Box. I played both of the Abe games when they were first released, and I always wanted to play the other two, but never got around to them. Unfortunately, I didn't have much access to my PC this week, so a lot of this email will be based on what I remember instead of a current playthrough. I remember renting the first game for the PS1 when it originally came out. The copy we had no instruction manual and no insert explaining how to play, so I started playing the game with an action gaming mindset when I should have approached it with a puzzle gaming one. Internet access wasn't a widespread thing in my area at the time, so it took a lot of deaths, a lot of button pushing, and a lot of luck to actually figure out how to play the game. That sounds awful.
See, I think I had it on demo as well. Or Odyssey on demo, and I played that before I got it.
Really?
I think so.
I think I've mentioned this before, but Oddworld Abe's Odyssey was the game that I got a PlayStation for. Like, that was the first game I owned on PlayStation. Was that and Tomb Raider 2?
My first was Crash Bandicoot.
I don't think I ever owned that when it came out.
No, I tell a lie, because my birthday is the day after Christmas. So I got Croc, Legend of the Gobbos.
That wasn't a terrible game.
It was a good game. I still remember the tune and everything. It was really good. And then the day after that, I got Crash Bandicoot.
His email goes on. The Oddworld series did a really good job of making a world that felt lived in and real. Does a good job of building empathy for your fellow Mudokons, even though all of them have the same personality and reactions. I think it's due to their general helplessness and stupidity. I give the Oddworld Inhabitants team a lot of credit for making a likable and sympathetic race that are pretty much just Gungans. Maybe it's due to the fact that they don't speak stupid Gungan gibberish. Seriously, how does an aquatic race of creatures have a domesticated land creature trained as battle mounts? Sorry, I'm getting sidetracked. The point is I really hate Gungans. No, wait. The point is that I find the Mudokons sympathetic, even though they're pretty much Gungans, and is all due to some great design work by a truly creative team. The Abe games are definitely must-plays in any tour of the history of gaming. Thanks for the games. Thanks for the show. Thanks for giving me a place to bitch about Gungans. Ryan.
Thanks. But going to the personality thing for the Mudokons, in Exoddus, quite a few, they do say the same thing, but they give them different tones of voice.
Yeah. Hello. Hello.
There's quite the ones with the deep voice really crack me up. There was because there's a screen with about 4 different Mudokons on it. You go all of you, and they all stand up and they go hello, 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 and there's just one at the end goes hello. They just crack me up.
I like their depressed sound too. That they're oh. Or when they get slap happy, we forgot about that. There's gas that they can that they can walk through, and they just and you got to go bitch slap, and they go okay.
It's so annoying.
It's like he said. It's the world feels lived in. It actually feels fleshed out and just superbly good.
Very good week. Good recommendation, Eric. We like that one.
The Oddworld games have such a special place in my heart. I can understand where Jack is coming from with how they feel a little dated. If you didn't play these in their day and going to them now, you're going to look at it and go, oh.
Yeah.
Well, didn't Crystal make a comment about it too?
Yeah, she just walked past and she looked at it and she went, God, that looks shit. Then I was trying to explain how it isn't. She just walked off.
I don't give a shit.
It's funny though.
So next week, Daniel. Oh.
Yes. Oh.
Oh.
Yeah, next week is my pick. And much to Eric's enjoyment, I have picked Mega Man X.
Oh!
Mega Man X.
I cannot wait to play this.
Me too. I'm quite interested to see what it's like.
It is so good. I feel like if anything's going to get you personally into the Mega Man series, it's going to be X. Because you have...
I think I have dabbled before, but only briefly.
Well, you really enjoy the leveling and the power-ups and changing things. And this one, you can actually get power-ups to Mega Man's suit.
Oh, awesome.
It is super cool. And it's not the same... It's a very important distinction. You're not playing as the same Mega Man as you are from the first games.
Really?
Yes, this is X, not Mega Man. It is a different Mega Man.
All right. Okay,
So
got you.
I'm super pumped. What version are you going to play?
What's the best one?
Oh wait, there is only one. Oh no, there's the X collection for GameCube and PS2.
It'll probably be the SNES version, I imagine.
Emulated.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think I have X on the Super Nintendo.
So while we're on about the subject of the next games, I discussed this with the rest of the crew earlier in the week, and what we basically have a rotating schedule where each of us gets to pick a game for that week. But what we want to do soon, hopefully, is have a week dedicated to you guys where you can pick the game that we play. So we'll figure out a way for you guys to give us recommendations, probably via social media, and then we'll pick one. So we want to start doing this, but we're not sure when yet, but we'll get to it, I hope.
Yes, soon.
We would say a concrete date, but I've just dropped that on Eric like a bomb.
Well, we have so many good games coming up in the later half of this year too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I like this schedule thing.
We do. Yes, it was one of my better ideas, I think.
Tom did it.
Yeah, it was Tom's idea.
The other piece too is that Tom will be in America Land in less than a month. And he and I are going to finish up the Pope LaCroix show when he's local. So I know some people have been waiting on that. We did our last one the beginning of January. So we're going to do our last book of Pope LaCroix when he's here. Looking at the next couple weeks, specifically the week of Red Faction, Dan, do you think your PC could handle Red Faction?
I think it could go.
Because they have the version with multiplayer.
Okay.
So I think we should buy it and do some multiplayer before the show, because that's where this game really shines. But yeah, we talked about what we have coming up. Mega Man X next week, then The Sims, then Indigo Prophecy /Fahrenheit, depending on where you live, Red Faction, and then I'm super pumped for Sonic Adventure because it's a Sonic game I've always been meaning to play and never got around to it.
I thought that was this week, so I'm kind of disappointed.
No. I think we need to, we've been doing some long games. I mean, shit, we had Paper Mario, Grim Fandango. It's just, we need to slow her down a little bit. Mega Man X is, depending on your Mega Man skills, a few hours tops.
Cool.
So, any final thoughts, Daniel?
Yes, I would like to award you a shit-colored star this week for not finishing Abe's
I know,
Exoddus.
I'm super disappointed. So, what it came down to, and I should probably explain why I didn't finish, a big portion of it was I played Firewatch. I spent an entire day playing that. Friday was shot because I spent 11 o'clock till... I basically was out of the house for 12 hours, work/going out to dinner and watching Deadpool. And then yesterday I was riding around skateboarding with some friends. So I sat down to play. I had intentions of trying to plow through it last night. I sat down at about 8. I've got enough time to get through the rest of this. And as we were talking about before, we just hit those points where it's just kind of like, this is frustrating. It's just it's super precise, super frustrating part of the game where I just, I don't really have the patience for this right now. And that's why I didn't finish. But
well, it's understandable, I guess.
I will say that I have finished this in the past.
Well done.
Yes.
You got further than Jess, anyway.
Jess has a way better excuse than I do.
She does.
Way better. So, all right, Daniel.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Oh, it's really good.
It's very good. That's absolutely spiffing.
Quite. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. How are you?
Oh, I already asked you that, didn't I?
Yes.
Where can we find you on Twitter?
You can find me on Twitter at Frosted Sloth.
You can find me at Honest Pizza. You want to follow us at Factory_Sealed or on the old face box, as Aaron Robinson used to call it. I miss Aaron. We need to have... He should be our backup.
Yeah?
Yeah. I'm going to contact him and see if he wants to be our on-deck guy. I'd like to have him on a show again.
Fair enough.
Facebook.com/FactorySealed. That's where we're going to be putting out giveaway
Stuff.
updates. I feel like the next one we're probably going to be doing a giveaway for might be Red Faction. Maybe. We'll see. That's going to do it for this week. We will see you all next week for Mega Man X.
It's not 10, though, is it?
No.
You sure?
When I worked at GameStop, people would come in asking for Final Fantasy X. Like, it's Final Fantasy. Just say 10. Like, you don't go to the store and you Final Fantasy IX. It's like it's 10.
Well, people are idiots, Eric.
I know. We're a couple of them.
Yes.
Okay, bye.
Bye.